Today, I'm going to show you how to play modern PC games on quite literally anything, like Shadow of the Tomb Raider on a Microsoft Surface tablet. I'll show you how I did it. Stay tuned. And I'm dead. So, unless you've been living under a rock for the last year, you probably understand that it's kind of hard to get a video card nowadays. I've done several videos on this subject, and honestly, I don't have a lot of great solutions. Unless you want to pay a ton of money buying a card from a scalper, or wait in line and spend a couple of months for a manufacturer to send you one, you're really kind of out of luck. And unfortunately, there hasn't really been a lot of great solutions to this problem. That is, until now. I have finally found a solution that's actually really good, and that's streaming your games from a service like Geforce Now. Geforce Now is not another game store, and honestly, it's not really a game streaming service either. It's actually a gaming system rental service where essentially what you're doing is renting a VM from them, and then you can play the games that you already own on that VM and stream them to whatever computer that you're currently using. Honestly, I think this is a great model. You purchase your games from places like Steam, and then you attach your Steam account to the Geforce Now service, and you can install and play whatever game you purchased from Steam. Now, that's the way it should work. Unfortunately, it's not exactly how it works. There's a lot of publishers that have actually blocked their games from being able to be used on the Geforce Now service. And honestly, I think this is unfortunate. I mean, we have publishers like EA Games, which we would expect them to remove their games from the service because honestly, they'll do anything to make a buck. But there's other publishers like Rockstar Games that have removed all their games from the system as well. And they're doing this because they have an exclusive agreement with Google Stadia in order to sell their games on their streaming service. And honestly, I already own 2 different copies of GTA 5, one for the Xbox and one for the PC. I'm not going to buy a 3rd copy at full price just so I can stream it. Imagine this. You have an Intel processor and you purchase a game, and you decide you want to switch to AMD. So you buy an AMD motherboard and processor, you upgrade your computer, you go to install your game, and all of a sudden you get a message. And this message says that you have an Intel license, and in order to play this game on an AMD, you need to purchase a new license. That's what this feels like to me. We bought a game for the PC, but we can't play it on any PC, like a PC that we rent from a service like Geforce Now. So honestly, I think the problem with game developers pulling their games off of this service is just a matter of greed. They want you to buy as many licenses as they can possibly sell you. And honestly, I don't think that's acceptable, but it is what it is. I think what we can do is we can use that to make our purchasing decisions in the future. For instance, right now, you can play Cyberpunk on Google Now, but you can't play Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, both of those games are both the same price, and if you're thinking of purchasing one or the other, then maybe purchase the one that you can play on the streaming service that gives you the ability to actually play games before you get hardware. I know that's probably the decision I'm going to be making. So, let's take a quick look at the interface itself. So the interface is actually fairly simple. You have an advertisement up top right here. And then right below that, you have all the different games that you currently have connected to the service right now. So you can scroll through these games just by hitting these arrows on the side. And then if you scroll down, you can actually see other games that are available on the service that you can purchase if you want. Now, you can't purchase these from this service itself. You actually have to go to the different game stores in like Steam in order to actually purchase the games themselves. So I'm not going to go into that today. I'm just going to go into more of the games that you already own. Once you're logged in, I have a free account connected right here. So if we come up to the top, we can click on this and it gives us our settings right here. And from our settings, we can kind of get an idea of how to configure this right here. You can attach your Epic game library as well as your Steam game library. And then to connect it, all you got to do is click on this little icon right here to connect. And then once you connect, if you ever purchase something else from one of these game stores, you have to hit the resync button in order to resync your games with the service itself. It doesn't automatically pull your new games and stuff like that. You can also test your server location here, as well as change your streaming quality. I have this one set to balanced, but you can go to data saver or you can go to competitive if you want, the best. It depends on what kind of visual effects that you want and what speed your internet is. If you have slower internet, then you might want to go with a more data saver. If you have a fast internet connection and you really, really want the best looking games possible, then you can click on competitive here. It still takes some bandwidth though. So just set to balanced right here, it says gameplay will take approximately 10 gigabytes an hour. So this service does definitely take bandwidth. I mean, at 10 gigs an hour, you're gonna have to have a fast internet connection in order to keep up with this. But if you do have a good internet connection, I would also recommend connecting through Ethernet. You can get away with using wireless N, but an Ethernet is always the best bet when it comes to stuff like this. Now, when it comes to memberships, you can either use the free membership like I'm using here, or you can use the priority membership. And the way they have these organized, let me show you here real quick. The free membership just comes with standard access. So essentially, you have waiting times that you have to actually wait through in order to get to a game. So you're essentially put into a queue, and once your number comes up, you get to play a game. And it actually works pretty well. It's not too bad. And you also only get 1 hour session length. So you can only play a game for an hour. And honestly, I think that's the biggest limitation when it comes to the free membership is the 1 hour playtime. Because I've gotten lost in games and then all of a sudden out of nowhere just booted because my hour has been up. Now, in the priority account, you can have priority access to the gaming servers. Now, I'm assuming that priority access means that you don't have to wait in a queue. But honestly, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if you have no queue at all or if you just have a smaller queue. Even if it's just a smaller queue, that would be better than nothing. But if it's no queue at all, that would actually be great. You also get extended session links. From what I understand, the extended session links are 6 hours. 6 hours is probably gonna work for the majority of people using this service. I can't even think of a time that I have sat in front of a computer playing a game for more than 6 hours. So honestly, I don't see a drawback in that at all. And then when it comes to the last feature is in the priority membership, you can actually get RTX on in games. So if your game that you're playing supports RTX, you can actually play RTX over a streaming service. And honestly, I think this is one of the best reasons to upgrade to the priority membership. So you actually get to take advantage of RTX without an RTX card in your computer. So there's all kinds of benefits that you can get from using the priority membership, but are they really worth it? I mean, like for instance, is the wait time really that bad? Is it really worth paying 10 bucks a month just so you can avoid the queue? Well, let's find out. Okay, I might have been exaggerating just a little bit, but you can easily wait for 20-30 minutes if you pick a really popular game at a really bad time of the day. So in situations like that, Yeah, it's worth an extra 10 bucks just to avoid the queue. But I think the biggest benefit is actually getting more than an hour playtime because, you know, the queue really didn't upset me that much because I knew I was gonna have to wait through it. However, every time my hour was up, it was always in the middle of a really bad spot and it was always annoying to have that shoved in your face. However, the nice thing about that is they actually start warning you at around 40 minutes and then they remind you every 10 minutes until you get down to 10 minutes to go, and from that point on, the timer stays on the screen, so you always know when your time is going to be up. It doesn't just shut you down without warning you ahead of time. So that definitely is a good thing. But to be able to have 6 hours of gameplay instead of 1 hour, that's also another really good benefit of the priority membership. So honestly, I really recommend going that route. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the gameplay and see how it looks. So the first game we're looking at today is CSGO. Since we're streaming these games, frame rates really aren't relevant. As long as your internet speed is fast enough, your frame rates should be just as fast as the server you're streaming them from can process them at. The gameplay is really smooth. While playing this, most of the time I forgot that I was actually playing it on a streaming service. It played extremely smooth, and it was like I was playing it locally on the system I was on. I was actually really amazed with how smooth everything was. The next game we're going to look at today is Rise of the Tomb Raider, and primarily because of just how visually amazing this game looks. I wanted to kind of see how this looked over Geforce Now, and honestly, I'm really impressed. It looks really good. In fact, it actually looks better on Geforce Now than it does on my local system. And again, just like CSGO, Tomb Raider is really smooth, and it doesn't feel like you're actually playing this on a streaming service. It feels like you're playing it locally on the computer. I'm actually real impressed with how well these games stream. I wasn't expecting it to be this smooth. I mean, obviously there's going to be some delay because you're dealing with internet connections here, but they're hardly noticeable. The next game we're looking at today is World of Warships. This is actually one that I downloaded just for this video, and I'm completely addicted to it. This game is amazing. Just like before, the streaming is extremely smooth. I literally spent hours playing this game over Geforce Now. The only annoyance was the fact that I was limited to an hour and I had to restart the game every time I ran out of time. This is one of the games that I think it would be really beneficial to have the priority account for. However, you could easily find yourself getting lost and blowing half a day playing this game. The last game we're going to look at today is Black Mesa. This is actually a fan remake of Half-Life, and the graphics have been upgraded a lot from the original game. And you know, there's something special about this game, and I think it's really neat. Apparently, the people at Valve liked this remake so much that they actually allowed the developers to sell the game on Steam. To be honest with you, that's just unheard of. To have a company actually allow someone to remake their game. I think that's pretty cool, and it's one of the reasons I love Valve so much. Just like before in the other games, this one streams extremely smooth. It doesn't even feel like you're streaming this from another computer. And being the fast-paced game like Half-Life is, it would definitely be noticeable if you had a lot of delay. If you look at the very top of the screen, this is an example of the clock that actually starts to run down once you're running out of time. And I put this section in here just so I can kind of show you what happens when that clock runs out. As you can see, we have about 10 seconds to go now. And there we go. So at the very end of the clock, you get booted out of the game. So is this service right for you? Well, I don't know. You're going to have to make that decision for yourself. However, if you have a gaming rig that is sitting there collecting dust and you can't do anything with it because you don't have a graphics card, well, this is a great option and it's free. I mean, you really can't lose there. And if you already own the games on Steam, there's no reason why you can't create a free account on this thing and just have some fun with your games. And if it works out good for you, then pay for the priority membership and at least get yourself by until graphics cards come back in stock, which honestly, there's a lot of talk saying that that's not going to happen until next year. So if that's the case, at least this is a great way to tide you over in the meantime. If this video was helpful to you, then please like this video and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell icon so you can be notified of future videos. I post a new video every week. And hey, before you go, check out a couple of these videos. Have a great day.